Welcome to the 5 o'clock workshop regarding the recycling center building. We're about to hear from our town engineer.
Hey.
You climb up there and introduce yourself, and we'll be off and running.
Make sure that mic's on.
It's on.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Will Haskell with Goral Palmer. We're a town engineer. We've been working with the town on the recycling center project for probably far too long now. Started out with phase one because the project was bigger than the town wanted to take on right at the beginning. So phase one was actually the outside kind of exterior improvements to the parking lot, the compactors, the concrete slab up to the compactors, all that exterior work, some improvements to the drainage pond. And took a little bit of a break, and then I think reached out to us again to restart phase two, which is related to the building. And that was actually several years ago. And we had put together a sub-consultant team, including us as the prime. We're civil engineers, kind of site civil engineers, so we don't do a lot of building work. So we retained Salas O'Brien, it's formerly Allied Engineering, out of Portland to help us out with mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and structural. And I guess that's where we started. Made several site visits and met with Chuck to talk about the improvements. Came up with a list of improvements, and we prepared a conceptual design report with some cost estimates. And I'll get to that in a second. Just kind of giving you a rundown of backstory here. We put together some cost estimates finally in 2024. I believe we presented that information to the SelectBoard at the time. Can't remember if it was a workshop or a SelectBoard meeting. And then we moved into what I would say preliminary design. And once we got that done at the end of 2024, we had retained a professional estimator to put together costs to kind of see where we were. And when those came back, it was a little eye-opening. They were quite a bit more expensive than the estimate that we had put together as part of the conceptual design. That's kind of where we are. So I'm here back in front of you folks to present some high costs, which is pretty similar to my recent sea level rise projects, which are high costs as well. But so we'll get into the nitty gritty of that. Let's see if I can get the clicker to work here. So in general, without getting into a lot of detail, I mean, the upgrades that we talked about for the building included new roofing, new walls, structural improvements. Actually, you asked us to look at whether we could improve the structural capacity of the building to take solar panels on the roof. What we found was that was not very feasible, so we kind of dropped that off the radar screen. The roofing and the walls, we looked at insulated steel panels for both. We looked at some additional heating, ventilation, and air conditioning inside the building. There's minimal heating in there now, a little bit of ventilation, mostly from the doors being open, which is pretty impractical in the wintertime. We looked at some plumbing improvements at the restroom facilities, mainly improvements with new fixtures and new sanitary sewer connections, et cetera, et cetera. We also looked at a new electrical service, three-phase service, now that there's three-phase out on Mountain Road. When we started phase one on this project, I don't believe three-phase was out on Mountain Road. It was single-phase service. With the compactors, it would be ideal to have three-phase service in there. So we looked at upgrading that. And upgrading all the kind of electrical components, receptacles, wiring, et cetera, to bring that up to code. And then there was some site work, additional site work as well, which was mostly drainage related, including taking some existing roof runoff, adding a new gutter system. That roof runoff currently drops onto the slab in front of the compactors and flows into the detention pond. Doesn't need to, so we were going to take that and get it into a separated storm drain that discharges out to the ditch along Mountain Road. The other piece we were looking at with the site work was there is an existing floor drain system inside the building, not very functional right at the moment. We had Weber TV that. But that floor drain system actually ties into the septic system, which is not a great idea to have a floor drain tied into a septic system. So we had also included some pricing and some upgrades to put in a holding tank. So disconnect that floor drain, tie it into a holding tank outside the building. That would be a regular maintenance item that would have to be pumped out on a regular basis when the holding tank fills up and taken to a facility that can process that.
Is that because what's likely to go down that floor drain is going to be possibly nasty stuff?
Yeah, so the state basically doesn't allow floor drains to tie into drainage systems and really into septic systems, because obviously septic systems basically infiltrates into the ground.
Eventually.
They prefer them to either tie into a municipal wastewater system or to a holding tank that gets pumped out and taken to a municipal wastewater system to get treated. So again, floor drain may see a little bit of drippings from vehicles going in and out during a rainy day or something like that. You might see some water that gets into the floor drain system. It was fairly well clogged when Rep Weber went in and looked at it and TV'd it, so I think they jetted it out. So it probably works a little bit better now, but it's still connected to the septic tank, directly to the septic tank, and then pumped to the subsurface wastewater system.
What's the idea of getting rid of the retention pond and changing the drainage so it goes out on the ditch in Mountain Road? What's the advantage of that?
Yep, not getting rid of the detention pond. The detention pond is still going to be there, taking all the flow from the parking lot and the access drive that wraps around the end of the building. The whole idea was we were going to separate the roof drainage, which usually isn't contaminated because you don't have all the material
Gotcha.
on the pavement.
I got you
And
now.
we don't need to get that, we don't need to have that go to the detention pond.
That makes sense.
It's
I get
safe
it now.
to
Thanks.
discharge it to the ditch. So that, in general, is kind of a summary of what the upgrades were that we were looking at. So the next slide is a table that summarizes our cost challenges here. So the concept cost that we did without the estimator involved in 2024 was between $800,000 and $900,000. There was no contingency added into that. Unit cost worked out to about $215 a square foot. What we're finding is renovation costs are significantly higher than that. Based on getting PCM estimators involved, the preliminary cost done at the end of 2024, early 2025, was almost double, 1.8 if you round it, $1 million. There's a contingency involved with that of 7.5%, which equates to around, I think, $123,000 or so, just to give you if you want to do an apples-to-apples comparison. That unit cost is about what did I say there? I can't read that on the screen. $420 a square foot. That unit cost is higher than what we are seeing for new buildings of this type. of use. So we're pricing public works facilities now in the $275,000 to $300,000 a square foot as the current kind of unit cost rate. So you'll see down there at the bottom, I have a concept cost for a new metal building. In that case, we bumped that up a little bit because we added some for foundation and fit out of a building. So the foundation on this building is a little bit challenging in that you've got kind of the two levels to it.
Yep.
So there's a fair amount of concrete work there for a foundation if we had to build a new one. We may be able to put a metal building on the existing one, but, and then there's, some kind of, it's not challenging, but I would say unique fit out in the inside. So we bumped that up to about $350 a square foot, just to give you a sense of what we think a new building would cost. So actually less than the renovation.
Why?
Because the renovation is just challenging and working in and around existing infrastructure. Doing all the new electrical outfitting, doing all this stuff and demoing existing building, demoing portions of the existing building, and then putting it back up. We're finding that the new building is...
Does that new building cost include the demo of the old building? Because that would obviously have to happen even if we're building a new building.
Yeah, you're right. I would say that 350 may not include that, but the demo cost is would be pretty...
Minimal in comparison.
What about continued operation while the building is removed?
Absolutely. I'm not saying it's easy, I'm saying there's challenges. There will be challenges with new building as well.
How many square feet is the building, Chuck?
It's the main metal building is 4,000. I've been using 4,200 when you add the little oil building on the side. That's probably a little bit bigger than what it actually is, but
80 by 50, right? Is that right?
80 by 40, I believe.
My neighbor-
using 4,200 square feet for.
My neighbor just put up a 40 by 100 for his car collection, and it was far less than that.
Yep.
The building itself, the metal building frame was 80,000.
Yeah, I mean, if you just go in and Google a metal building,
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to come up with a cost that's much less than $350 a square foot. So,
I think he's probably in the $300,000 range.
so the other thing we did, I don't know if this has a pointer on it.
It should.
Whoops. I guess that wasn't it. But so the next line up from the bottom, I skipped over a line there. I basically did a preliminary cost where I backed out the insulated panels that we used, or we priced in the preliminary cost above that, and went just non-insulated metal panels, new roof. It's a little bit less. What was that? 1.4, 1.45.
We'll eat that savings up in energy expenditures because of the non-insulation, though, in no time.
Yeah.
We looked at non-insulated metal sheathing and then doing, separate insulation. That cost is almost as much as the insulated panels, and you're going to get a way better product with an insulated panel.
Yeah, I think so, too.
So,
I should have I was just down there with him yesterday. We were looking at it, and it's a really nice building. It's insulated. We did radiant heat. I gave him with some of the stuff. But,
yeah.
You're talking about your neighbor?
Huh?
You're talking about your neighbor?
Yeah. He's got a car collection.
So obviously, I mean, I don't like being in these situations and have to make these presentations. I'll be the first to admit that. That's a big bust in terms of the conceptual cost versus the preliminary cost. Definitely not happy with that, but it is what it is. The biggest challenge, and I'm going to lay out a couple things here, and really what I don't think that's where I was headed with this, but the big thing I'm concerned about is we're in this tariff situation now where metal products are likely going to just continue to go up. So I don't see that cost coming down any the longer we wait, unfortunately. I understand the challenge with the operations. That is a challenge. I don't have an answer for that right off the top of my head. I'm sure Chuck would probably need to think about it as well. There was going to be a challenge even with just rehabbing the existing building, though, because there would definitely be impacts. I think.
You're going to empty the building one way or the other. So you were going to have an empty building to rehab or an empty building to demo.
Right.
So the plan would be the same.
It's
just logistics for me, where to put it, how to try to keep the flow.
right.
So like dumpsters in the parking lot or something like that?
The main thing is.
Put everything up back?
I can hear you.
Well, you need a mic, thank you.
Not shushed, it's the opposite.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Thanks, Will. So, I mean, basically the plan was, we'll probably use some, those roll-off containers that you have the doors there, to kind of build a bottle redemption area on the backside, but we need to, figure out how big a footprint construction is gonna require. Half our parking lot's gonna be gone no matter what. So we're gonna be back in similar situation like with COVID, where we had to do traffic control and all that type of thing. But we may move some things up to the transfer station just to keep traffic down below. The whole thing is going to just be to lessen the impact down below as much as possible traffic-wise. And, try to slide some of it up top. But, manpower is going to be stretched if we can get back to normal manpower at all. And then, it's going to be a challenge one way or the other. Is it quicker to put up a new building? I would think so.
I would think so, if they could get in there and, get that old one out of the way and,
Yeah.
and
Well,
put that up.
What would be the time estimate for either one of those, roughly?
What did we figure? We figured, I think it was 6 to 8 total, right?
Yeah.
Month?
I
Yeah.
think you're looking at a construction season.
Yeah. And I'm assuming most of this would have to be done in the warmer weather.
We were leaning towards try to do it in the fall.
Right, in the off-season,
because
that's what makes
we
most
need-
sense.
We need the least amount of traffic.
Right, that's
there.
what would make
Try
the
to
most sense to me, do it in the off-season if it was possible to do that type of,
Winters have been fairly mild, the last 5
except for the last one.
Well, even then, the plow trucks were plowing 2 inches, no, not 2 feet. So.
One other item I'll just mention, that there was already some items that were cut out of this scope that were desires or wants, a generator, for example. That's not in these numbers. So there were some other items that Chuck has wanted for a long time, that aren't in those numbers. So that is just the items that I talked about, it doesn't include the generator, doesn't include, can't remember what else we cut out of that.
Heat.
Yeah.
Heat.
Yeah. I do think we need to talk about the financing aspect, because we had enough money for
The
the
900.
the $900,000 project, but we don't have enough money. The voters haven't approved enough money
Right.
for something different, whatever
And-
that something different might be.
At this point, the soonest we could get something like that approved, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just guessing here, is the March town meeting?
November.
I think you could put something on November, but I don't know
Yeah.
if we've really given a
That's
lot of
pushing
thought
it,
to.
though, isn't it?
Well, I don't know if you know the direction you want to go.
You're right.
and,
Yeah, we're running out of time if we want to get it out. When would we have to make that decision, I guess, if we wanted it on the,
For November.
for November?
Next meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
a lot of information to
Yeah.
process
Yeah. yeah.
and that's my only concern. If we push this out to March town meeting, that 1.7 quickly becomes 2.1 and then 2.5. I mean,
Yeah, I was
Like it
hoping it
says
was
right
more
there.
like 1.4, but I think this tariff issue is a concerning one because it can
An unknown.
change so much. Such an unknown.
I think that we've had a few discussions just in passing that as a group, we probably need to figure out what direction the town wants to go and what uses we're planning on this building having, so we can get a more concise view of what we want done over there.
Right.
And then, once we know what the actual mission for this building's gonna be, then we can put together the final plan. I'm thinking we're not gonna see construction until fall of '26 or spring of '27. I mean, that's probably the most realistic at this point, without rushing the voters, without rushing us, putting our heads together, figuring out exactly a plan moving forward as far as personnel, use of the building, all that stuff. We haven't rushed it up till now.
Yeah.
2027 will be the 10-year anniversary of the start of this, so
just
why
right up
rush
pace
it
with the
now?
boat launch then, and everything else.
I mean,
But
They'll be picking.
I know one thing that was briefly mentioned, Public Works.
Yeah.
To utilize that building for typical public works. I mean, there's a couple things, it looks like my slide got cut off down at the bottom, but, you definitely need some changes to HVAC, potentially, which goes back to insulation, and then vehicle exhaust system, if you're going to have vehicles in there running on a regular basis.
Just going in and out.
You would need to have a vehicle exhaust. And then I think we'd want to think about the size of the floor drain tank that we've proposed, because right now, I don't think there's, I can't remember what I've got in there, if it's 1,000 or 1,500 or 2,000 gallon tank. But with public works vehicles going in and out of there, you're probably going to end up generating more to use that, so that tank might go up as well.
Well, the new fire station is, there's a proposal to use part of that for public works,
Okay.
to store the town's boat and things like that, because it'll be a while before we expand into the full, all the bays are used for fire engines and ambulances.
How many square feet do you need, Chuck? You don't need that whole building to run your operation, do you?
I think the footprint will be right for public if we try to make it a dual-purpose building,
Yeah.
establish a public works, have it be, I'm not planning on, my own vision for public works doesn't see the town investing in excavators and all that stuff like that. It's more juggling vendors and, having some equipment, but we're not gonna go down the road of, building up Brunswick Town, public
Yeah.
works. I don't see that at all for the town.
But-
I see it more as like a centralized, for plowing, to deal with all the maintenance issues in town, basically, as far as that. But, there's times right now, we did a major clean out of the building, but when we're full of e-waste and all this and that, there's certain stuff that we cannot store outside. It has to be stored undercover.
That's
So-
what I was getting at.
So, e-waste, when this picked up, it's basically 24 pallets. We did put some kind of a shelving system in there. We can put about 10 pallets on one wall now. But it still takes up a lot of floor area, and the bottles and cans just take up a ridiculous amount of area also. Plus, we have a work area. I think moving forward, you're dealing with the footprint that we have, basically. You mentioned the foundation, but I think the foundation is the same height all the way around, if I remember right. You're seeing it as split level because the
Yeah.
parking part is higher, but the actual footprint of it is all the same height.
Yeah.
You may be right.
Yeah.
It's sitting on ledge, isn't it?
The foundation's pretty bulletproof, I think, as far as me. I don't.
Bunker. It's
I've
like a
never
bunker.
seen a foundation that thick. I don't know. You
I
guys
just
spent
don't
a lot
know
of concrete there at one point.
If we can, a lot of these metal building manufacturers they have standard stuff.
So initially, when we started talking about this last decade, my whole thought process was, it's gotta be cheaper to take that erector set building, strip off the skin off of it, reuse the frame, replace, or patch whatever's there, because it's all, these things aren't rocket science, these buildings really aren't. And then, reskin it, put a new roof on it, do whatever upgrades you wanted to do. Definitely electrical is the biggest challenge over there. I think we can all agree on that. But, you know, and at the time, I went web surfing and looked at prices of buildings, and if I remember right, I found an exact footprint building.
Okay.
So I don't know how challenging that really would be. I mean, you have the right contacts to find out exactly what it is, but.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty standardized building. When they built the place, they didn't have some big spec card of, you know, of odd dimensions or anything like that. I think they just went through a catalog and said that looks pretty good. And it's a pretty consistent building size anyways, so I don't think that's gonna be a huge issue. I think the foundation's reusable. We're gonna have to do the drainage one way or the other, whether we use it for single use,
Yeah.
or we try to make it adaptable so we can have multiple uses in the future. If all the real difference there is maybe catch cans or the drains or whatever, the cages or a bigger tank, it seems like why not put the bigger tank in now and be done with it?
Yeah, the drainage and the tank, you know, are relatively small
it's a small
potatoes
piece of the
in this piece here, this puzzle. It's,
All right, so where are we at right now then?
And I think we as a group, and maybe you want to pull more people in, however you want to handle it, need to have a clear and concise plan for what direction the town wants to go in, what we want to use this building for, before we go, hey, 1.4 sounds great, and then we end up, like Matt said, come back and it's 2.1 just because we're using it for dual purpose. If we're going to do the building, we need to do it once and do it right.
I
As far
agree.
as that. We've got a 40-year-old building on there that's, last time it's really been touched was 40 years ago. I mean, it's not a high-maintenance building anyways, but it's not, you know, there's things that could have been done to keep it in better shape over the
Yeah.
years, that's for sure.
40 plus.
Yeah, we're at 45 this
Yeah.
year or last year, whatever, yeah, so.
I was working on it.
Yeah, we're-
Yeah, I worked for Laddie.
You're old,
back
Kevin.
then. I know. I built a
But,
can
I
crusher.
think as a group, we just need to, and like I said, pull whoever we want in, whatever it is, but figure out what direction we want to go with, you know, the departments, the melding of different departments, however you want to handle it, what we really want to get out of this building, what our vision is for 5 to 10 years down the road, as far as that. But I would like to see the building done before I retire.
Well, if we hold off on doing the building, that means we get to keep you longer then, right?
No.
I tried.
I have plans, Matthew. But I think we need a clear vision of what we want before we can really make this thing move forward with an actual plan, more accurate numbers. I'm no engineer, but the electrical part of this whole thing has got me flummoxed as how much it is. It's not, I mean, I understand industrial buildings are different beasts altogether, but I think we've looked at it both ways, with or without VFDs for soft starts, that type of thing. I don't know if we've ever come to an actual conclusion, because we've got a 50-50 split, whether we need them or not. So, I mean, that may be something we need to make sure is at least budgeted in, but might be a savings down the road. You know, I'm not sure if that estimate still has them or not, I can't remember now.
I think
This
it's in there.
is it, we're on what, the 6th, 7th iteration of this, I can't remember. So, but I think as a town, we just need a clear path moving forward. Some decisions just made, kind of a path to where we want to be. And then decide what we really want to do with the building, and hopefully get something going by the 27th.
I agree.
That's,
Yeah.
Or are you thinking like a small task force that might take it on, or?
whatever you think is appropriate.
I mean, I think.
I'm not the liaison, so I don't know the answer to this, but is that something the recycling committee? I just
We
threw
could
it
have-
up.
We could have a member from it, maybe.
Yeah, or
That'd
something,
be
I don't
sit in
know.
on
I
it.
didn't know if we already had maybe a committee already established that might know about
Yeah.
this.
I think maybe instead of having one specific group,
Yeah.
be it, I think putting a group together, pulling from
Yeah, that's
different,
fine too.
pulling from different, you know, expertise and getting something together.
I do like your idea though of coming up with a plan and a mission statement and stuff, because otherwise you're just going into it blind.
Yeah, and we don't want to put all this money into something and then look at it and say, you know, well, now we want to do this with it and have to spend another $500,000 to $800,000 to get it to where we want
Yeah.
it.
Buy once, cry once.
Yeah,
So,
I like that.
we've waited this long, let's get it right. That's
Yeah.
what it basically what it boils down to.
That's what we did with the fire station up there.
What you gotta do.
Do it once.
Yeah.
All right,
I think I just got you off the hook for tonight.
you have to go for now.
But in the same breath, we need better communication and keeping, in the loop here. It seems like there's been awful long dry spells of not communicating and seeing where we are and letting it flounder. I'm anti-flounder.
Got it.
What's the next step?
I think the board needs to consider if you want to have a small group of people with certain expertise, like
Yep.
maybe someone
Yeah.
from recycling, but somebody with some building experience,
Yep.
obviously Chuck involved.
Yeah.
But I think it's gotta be kind of a fast track type of
I
thing,
would agree.
where, you give them a mission, but,
That's where we get
Yeah.
Chuck involved. He can speed things along. He's got retirement to
Yeah.
get to. He just
Yeah.
yeah.
it would be nice to have something for the March 2026 town meeting.
at the
So,
latest.
Yeah,
Something,
right,
yeah.
right.
I think the voters will feel better with some final clarification too. We've been, asking
Yeah.
for money for quite a while now. We've built up the piggy bank, of course, but I think people really need to feel good about and know what they're actually getting. And, it's gonna be a building one way or another, but, I think the town's at the point now where some aspect of a public works, grouping together would probably be the right way to move forward.
Yeah, it sounds like our vision for the building is changing somewhat, and maybe you do want to bring in a component of somebody who's familiar with public works even, that might want
I
to
think
contribute
myself,
to
at least
the
one selectman.
conversation.
One member of the recycling committee, and then maybe 3 or 4 more people, just pulling from places that, anybody you can think of with some expertise in building or public works or whatever, as far as that.
What's that get us, 7 people then?
I think 7 people.
Yeah,
or,
I think
well,
that's a
less,
good number.
6 or
You won't-
7. You don't
right.
get too many.
You don't want more than that, because
No, I
then
don't
you
want a
start
family
running
reunion.
If
into
you get
problems.
too many, then you get into scheduling
no.
issues.
Right.
Scheduling
But not
7
only that.
people who
I
can
think
always make a
So many different
meeting.
opinions, right?
6, 7
We
at the
agree on
most.
that.
Yeah,
All right, we'll put together a list.
well,
But
maybe,
short and sweet, though.
Chuck, we can work on that, having some type of mission
Sure.
statement by
Yep.
next meeting.
Yep.
And if you think of anyone, Chuck, forward it to maybe one of us, you're the guy that knows it
Yeah.
the best, so if there's anybody you think that would be helpful to the cause,
Yep.
speak up.
Yep, definitely.
Do you want to come take a look at the building in my neighborhood?
Yeah, I'm all for field trips. Gets me out of there.
It's brand new.
Are the cars in there yet?
No, he just had the floor sealed the other day.
All right, I'll come down and check it out when the cars
Yeah.
are in.
Can we relocate operations over there?
It's pretty nice. But it didn't cost that.
Only after he seals the floor.
Yeah, it's sealed. They did it the day before.
But I just think a clear path forward is gonna make everything so much easier.
Yeah.
And I need time to really put a plan together. I also want to be able to have a contract that's multi-year during this, so we don't have to worry about that aspect of it either. I think everything off the plate that can be off the plate, so we can concentrate on the project at hand.
For the waste disposal.
Right. Yeah. So, get things timed out, figure out what, where we need to address what, and get it, make it as smooth a process as we can.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
To be continued.
Yeah.
Dun,
At least
dun,
we have a
dun.
plan.
Yeah.
We have a plan.
We got a
Let me
plan.
know what you
plan.
need from me.
Okay.
Well,
You might need to present to the
A concept of a
initial
plan.
task
Yeah.
force group, the background. Yeah, okay.
Do that.
Thank you. How we doing for time?
All right.
You want to recess until 6?
yeah.
Who-
Yeah.